All right, in this video, we're going to talk about collecting counter stamps. And first of all, I'm going to go over a little bit of history of what counter stamps are, at least the more significant pieces. Let's see. Well, counter stamps have been used and done for many centuries. Counter stamps can be in any form. It could be a marking. It could be letters, numbers, initials. In this particular instance, the example that you see before you is actually the name of a business. The counter stamps generally have really picked up some speed during the Civil War. So anytime during the early 1860s is when a lot of the merchants were counter stamping regular, general, circulated coinage to kind of promote their business. So the counter stamps in general are very cherry pickable. A lot of folks don't know what they are and they just assume that it is a damaged coin, which, in their eyes drops the value. But to a lot of Civil War buffs, a lot of counter stamp and store card collectors, they hold quite a bit of value. So we're going to talk about the rarity. We're going to talk about certain coins that you can find with counter stamps. And primarily, we're going to talk about the kind of like the ins and outs, the A's and the, A through Z's of collecting counter stamps. So counter stamps can be in any form, whether it's copper, silver, a pot metal, bronze. It could be on any type of coin. Not necessarily all U.S. coins, but it could be anything foreign as well. What you see is several examples of Canadian coinage that can hold some counter stamps if you look hard enough. This counter stamp that you see before you, it's a Devons and Bolton of Montreal. This was actually found at an antique store a couple weekends ago, and Devons and Bolton was a very much commonly the company in itself used coins for their advertising, so they did a lot of counter stamping, and they used all of Canadian types of coins, anywhere from the big Bank of Canada pennies that you see here were a common medium that were used in the counter stamping of these coins. Okay, and another one was the Queen Victoria pieces that you see here. They were pretty common as well for counter stamping. So there's a lot of them out there. The Bank of Canada, Montreal Bank, Newfoundland coins, New Brunswick, Nova Scotia. This particular item is a lot rarer. Prince Edward Island. It's a kind of like a self-government and free trade token. Okay, it's a 1855, and this one has the Devons and Bolton Montreal stamp on there. So during the Civil War, to kind of give you a little bit more backstory, as you know, a lot of coins, general circulated coins that were produced at the mint during its day, were commonly hoarded. There was a lot of uncertainty of where the country was going. Of course, it was the North versus the South, and there was a lot of very political things going on during the time, where normal people would hoard, large cents. They would hoard silver, dimes, nickels, quarters, everything they could get their hands on in the hopes of saving for the future, and gold as well. So if there's not going to be any sort of coins, to help anybody buy anything, especially at the merchant level, the merchants have to step in. So they produced what they call store cards as a way of kind of complementing regular U.S. currency during the time. And, they could be used, for, buying goods and services, dry goods, firearms, anything you could think of, even alcohol, wine, and spirits. So these merchants and companies minted and produced their own tokens for services. And the Army did something as well that was similar, or actually the Armed Forces. They did something called a sutler token, which pretty much a sutler token, it was given to soldiers to be spent at various merchants, goods, and services. So those are the two differences. And another one is the counterstamp, like you see before you. So what do these typically go for? Well, the Devons and Bolton was a very common counterstamp, but they still command quite a bit of money. I paid $18 for the example that you see right before you, but I know it's worth several $100s because it's the only 1855 Prince Edward Island token, halfpenny, that has the Devons and Bolton Montreal stamp on there. The Bank of Canada actually has an example much like this, only it's the 1857 that they have in the national collection. So to give you an idea of the rarity, I knew exactly what it was because I've seen the Bolton stamps before on like US large cents and, the Bank of Canada tokens. And they're a little bit more common, but they still command some money. So when you're out there searching and sifting through, like, for example, foreign coins, generally there's going to be a box or a bin with these coins in there. I would highly encourage you to thumb through them, look through them to see anything with a counter stamp. Some of them might be a modern type of stamp. Some of them might be during the period. That's going to make all the difference in the world. Even the ones from the early 20th century before the Great Depression hold value. All right, and you never know. It could be an initial. It could be a company name. It could be a full name. Whatever you see, go ahead and buy it. And if you have questions about what you do have, you can send me a message because I know quite a bit about the counter stamps as I've been collecting them for about 5 years, and I could probably shed a little bit more light. But if you're able to pick up these things for $1, $2, $3, $5, you could easily make a whole lot more money off of them. So this is collecting counter stamps. What are they about? And if you have questions, again, shoot me a private message or just comment below. This is another acquisition that I'm going to try and sell here in the near future, if the money is right. So thanks for listening in, and have a nice evening. Take care, guys.